Let's go up to it.
Look, there's a new backlash against gentle parenting. A widely shared article in the Wall Street Journal says tough love is back. Our parenting expert, Erica Suter, is here to explain. What you have to explain first is this acronym associated with it, FAFO.
Well, George, when parents said reach their limit, it's kind of like a mess around and find out kid. That is basically what's happening there. I want to break down what gentle parenting is first. So it's basically rooted in being empathetic, emotional regulation, and your relationship with your child. So think validating big feelings and getting down on their level and staying calm the entire time, no matter how they react.
That's gentle parenting.
That's gentle parenting. So then you have the more, what people are calling the harsher parenting, but it's actually authoritative parenting. And it's rooted in consequences. So when they misbehave, there's going to be a consequence.
Yeah, you touch the stove, it's hot. Go ahead, touch it if you want. Yeah, there's consequences to it. But is this shift generational? And is it harder for parents to be authoritative when it comes to social media or feelings of being judged by other people?
Yeah, parents today feel more judged than ever, and social media doesn't help because they don't want to be caught on tape or on film doing something, yelling at their kid. But here's the thing, gentle parenting does not work for every child. And just because you're more authoritative doesn't mean you're harsh or it's without emotion, without love. It's just giving them a consequence for their behavior. And kids need that kind of structure.
I heard the word no a lot as a kid, and my children hear the word no a lot. What is authoritative parenting, and how do parents do it the way that you would recommend? Okay,
so there's a really simple way to implement it. You want to make sure that there are clear expectations about behavior. So we don't talk disrespectfully to grown-ups in this house. And if they do, there has to be a consequence. But don't say, I'm going to cancel your 8th birthday. No parent ever does that. Make the consequence something like no screen time or no play dates on the next 2 Saturdays, something like that. And then you want to make sure there are natural consequences. I have a teenager, he refuses to wear his coat in the winter. And I'm like, okay, go out and be cold. And I'm not going to run your coat to school if you need it, right? And so you also want to be warm, but not wobbly. You don't want to give in when they're complaining about, this isn't fair, but you want to say, I understand how you feel. I know you don't want to leave the playground, but it's time to go. And you want to also make sure that you give them choice and a voice. Now, this helps them with decision making. So something like, would you like to shower before dinner or after dinner? And lastly, reset after mistakes, yours and theirs. Sometimes we overreact. It's okay to apologize to your children. And when they mess up, you want to set a plan for how they can make it better the next time.
Of parenting that the Wall Street Journal calls F around and find out, or out feral their feral. Or feral. That's how you say it. Some say it's really just old school discipline. Parents can ask and warn, but if the kid breaks the rules, prepared to live with the consequences. Some examples: if I tell you it's going to rain, bring your raincoat. If the kid ignores me and it rains, too bad, you're gonna get wet. If you don't like what's being offered for dinner, for example, okay, I guess you'll just have to wait for breakfast. Another one, how many times have I said to pick up your toys, right? Well, now they're going in the trash. That's an old school one from my house, when I was a kid. It worked. So this is a switch from more gentle style of parenting that seems to limit discipline. Some people say that created issues for some Gen Zers. Style of parenting that the Wall Street Journal calls F around and find out.
We're sick people. We're working for the future, because working for the present, we ain't making no progress.
All right, LB. So we have 3 styles of parenting. We got gentle parenting, authoritative parenting, and FAFO parenting. What are your thoughts, man?
Okay. Listen, mine's is a mix because mine's a mix of parenting. Because while I leave opportunity for them to emotionally grow, for them to learn, about their emotions and be able to express themselves, there is a limit. Okay, so yes, there is some gentle parenting in that I want them to communicate what it is that they are either feeling or what they're trying to convey. Because I remember growing up, and it didn't matter. It felt more like do as I say, not as I do, right? Uh, but I want them to be better than me. I want them to have, emotional intelligence at, at a younger age. I just want them to do better, right? But the strict rules are still there. All of that, if I tell you to clean up your toys, and if I see those same toys on the floor when I have to come around and clean up, that means you don't want them. That means they're going in the trash. And you better believe that those toys have gone in the trash. So the consequences are definitely there. As I always tell, my boys, every action has a reaction, and a consequence that comes along with it. So yeah, like that part is I guess the authoritarian part where, listen, these are the rules. If you don't abide by these rules, then this is if this, then that. So definitely big on that. But also I'm big on, like I said before, getting on the level where, I can understand them, and because I want them to also know that I do understand them. And guess what? This is still happening. You might have misunderstood, but this is what it is. Here were the clear rules. So now that I understand you and you understand me, okay, here's what's going to happen. So for me, there is no coddle. There is no, and not to say that, so in all truth, right, he does get that. He does get, depending on the situation, the severity of what's been done, he does get, if he gets hurt or whatever, his mom will come in and, will do the coddling thing, whereas if he's with me, I'm like, all right, come on, get up. You got this. Let's go. And again, it just depends on the severity of what happens. And so it's just a mix. It's a mix of gentle parenting mixed with the authoritarian or whatever you want to call it. But just also know, though, they also have to know that this is my house. I pay the bills. So, here are the rules. Okay? Here are the rules. I think that a good mixture is what a well-balanced, well-balanced plan is what's needed. Because one side, so if you go too far to one side, you run that risk of a traumatized kid on either side, where they become too soft, or the other side they become too rigid or even, let's say, because even if you go the authoritarian parenting style, you still could create this weak-minded child, who doesn't know anything but how to take orders, who's afraid of everything, who, won't jump out there and try something new because they're afraid that they're going to get punished. And on the other side, you have an individual who, I don't know, I was going to say who just sees rainbows all the time, but I don't think that's politically correct, right? No.
It's a damn shame that the rainbow ain't politically correct no more. We in a sad time.
Oh man. But you could also have a a person that becomes an adult and doesn't have that fortitude to withstand uh, the emotions that happen in everyday life. You know, your boss yells at you and you curling up crying to your mama as an adult, like, you know, So I think a good balance is definitely needed.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. Um, I agree. I think, and it's so. I would say, for me, it's definitely a mixed bag, but it's it leans more heavily between authoritative and fuck around and find out than gentle. Now, what I mean by that though is that the rules are still the rules. So, right, we like you said, I will say them to you gently, but you are still gonna take this L. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, I understand. This is sad, and I'm gonna cry with you. Come here, give me a big hug. I'm gonna cry with you, but you're gonna take this L though. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's kind of that's because you have. I don't have a quote for this or anything like that, but you have to, with authority, still have a lesson behind it, especially when you're dealing with children, right? Because then, like you said, you get kids that just think that, my mom and dad tell me to do stuff, and they just tell me to do stuff because they're big and I'm little. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that. It's because I've seen what you haven't seen yet because I was you. I didn't know this obviously when I was a kid. You didn't know this either, right? And I would argue that my parents probably didn't see it from this perspective. Our parents probably didn't. But yes, it's not that you do as I say because I said it. It's I'm warning you. I'm telling you this is wrong because down the road you'll do something similar and it'll work out worse for you and daddy won't be here to save you. Now, I'm not obviously not, that's a deeper conversation, but I'm just saying like that's kind of the baseline behind the the authoritative approach. Still gently though. So yes, but also yes, you're still gonna take this L though. Yeah, I love you. Yep, I'm gonna get big hugs. I'm sorry, baby girl. I might even shed a tear with you. You know what I'm saying? Because this is sad. Because it breaks my heart to see my girls cry. Straight up, that's real. It breaks my heart to see my girls cry. You know what I'm saying? But I also know that if I don't let them take this L, they won't learn nothing, and they'll mess around and they'll be these delusional adults, quote unquote, out here in the world that think that the world is supposed to bend and cater to them. And that is not true. The world owes you nothing.
We live. We live.